Welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I bring 5 decades experience in the world of comic books and entertainment. I am not some bystander watching the industry go by. I am a full-blown participant, having contributed lasting, memorable works to the world of comic books that have informed the business and the art of this brilliant medium. If it's happening in streaming, in movies, in comic books, in games, we are talking about it, we're discussing it right here. Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest edition of the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. Today, you are in for such an incredible tweet, such an incredible treat, as we have a monster, and when I say monster, I mean monster conversation with just a creative dynamo like none other in our business right now. You are now, no doubt, enjoying Invincible Season 4, the last episode, prior to speaking to Robert, the big Conquest episode adapted straight from the brilliant Invincible comics by Robert Kirkman. That particular episode, Ryan Otley, and of course Corey Walker, who launched the book with Robert. Invincible, the animated series, is blowing up. If you happen to randomly, drop into Amazon Prime, you'll see its #1 show each and every time. Robert is the creative force behind Invincible. He's the producer of the show. He writes it. Here's my kick-ass Invincible action figure that's going to make a cameo in this interview. I've got my giant, as I said to Robert, my tablets. I feel like Moses coming down the mountain with my giant additions here. I like them even bigger, like the imagery. So I went deep into the archives on the shelves and got some of my other additions to check out. Look, this all set the stage for an incredible conversation. We're going to talk to Robert about Invincible, the animated series, Battle Beast, the comic that he's doing with Ryan Otley, his brand new series, Terminal, that is launching in July with talents incredible superstar talents. Andy Kubert, Art Adams, Dave Finch, to name a few, Joe Casey. We talk about the Energon Universe, everything that's going on with those comic books. We talk about Image Comics, the incredible success that Image Comics is having right now. Before we jump in, you guys know I'm all over social media. I'm not going to go through and give you all my different handles. If you go on my socials, you'll some variation of Rob Liefeld, as long as it's got a blue check somewhere on X, on Instagram, on on TikTok, on Facebook. You'll find me. You'll locate me. I'm never hard to locate because I'm surfing the World Wide Web and all the socials all the time. Get ready for a great conversation. Robert is such a great interview. He brings incredible perspective, stories, insights as to all the things that you can look forward to in the weeks ahead as Invincible wraps up, in the months ahead as Battle Beast and Terminal and Void Rivals and Transformers and G.I. Joe and all of his Energon comics continue to launch. And of course, Skin Breakers with Dave Finch is wrapping up. I think that covers it. I'm going to stop. No juice this episode. This interview is the juice. Juice. Thank you to Robert for giving us so much of his time. Enjoy it. And thank you, as always, wherever you are listening, on Apple, on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on our YouTube channel, wherever you're listening. Thank you for listening. Enjoy this great interview that Robert bestowed upon us. Have fun. Take care. Buy comic books. Enjoy this one. Robert Kirkman, welcome back to the show. I am so excited to talk about you and talk with you, but really about you, because I'm just going to launch right into this, dude, because I am so jacked, because I just watched, and I'm going to give you a little build out. I pulled a family member in to watch the latest episode of Invincible, but I have to ask you, and anybody has to begin an interview with you right now with, how excited are you for all of the success of Invincible? Literally, how freaking excited are you?
I mean, I'm pretty excited. I mean, it's hard not to be excited about that kind of thing. It's certainly great. It's also gratifying. I mean, I've seen you talk about it. I've spoken recently about how, the Invincible comic book, it didn't get a lot of love back in the day. It struggled. And so to have it go from a struggling comic book to the phenomenon that it is now is especially awesome. So yeah, I'm having a good time. I'm loving it.
I've shared with you, it's old news, how my sons came to Invincible through the cartoon, but now in my community, I'm sure in your community, you're the comic book guy. We all are known as the comic book guy if we do comic books.
Yeah.
And my buddies, teenagers, he's like, my 14-year-old boys are like, Dad, watch Invincible with us. This is the greatest. And so they call me and they said, did you see the entrails episode? I'm like, oh yeah. So here's a funny thing I'm going to tell you. About 30 minutes ago, my wife, Joy Liefeld, pretty expert in comic book stuff, at least on the very basics. She watches it and she goes, so the show's over? So he's dead. So I don't understand. So he's dead. And I said, babe, talk to you later. And I got to go. But it's like, to the common person, it is a, because I said, I want your opinion on this. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, this is crazy. And literally her conclusion was, so the show's over. So he's dead. So I just think it is next level entertainment. And I know if I had gotten close to anything resembling that, I mean, for me, it was Ultraman. It was like anything like Battle of the Planets. I mean, but Ultraman and Giant Robo, anything that was engaging that resembled comics for me in the early 70s was, I got on my UHF channel and it was some Japanese show. And this show is just next level. I mean, so yeah, I'm thrilled that you're thrilled.
Thanks. Yeah,
You should be thrilled.
yeah, no, I mean, and we always, I don't know, we always try to do like big memorable moments, and that recent intestines episode was, I think, definitely a high watermark in the show thus far, and I think people are, I don't know, people are responding appropriately to it. That's one of the ones where, especially in the sound mix, which is the first time I get to hear the final audio and everything like mixed in, we get to tweak things and stuff. It's a lot. It's very it's a distressing scene to watch, and I think that kind of stuff is important for a show. But you know what? I wanted to back up because one thing that I love your show. I'm happy to be on the show. One thing that I've learned from your show that we talk about sometimes privately that I think is just fascinating is the information that we feel is out there, but in this like new world that we live in where there's so much stuff going on, people just don't get some of the stuff that we feel is like, baseline information that everybody should have. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to, point people to a thing they may not be aware of. If you are a fan of Walking Dead and Invincible, you owe a debt of gratitude to Rob Liefeld.
Get out of here. That's not true.
It's
Anyway,
100% true.
thanks, buddy.
Hold on.
I'm
Those
Charlton Heston. It's the Ten Commandments. It was just on. Look at my tablets. Look at my tablets.
But no, people need to understand that Walking Dead and Invincible exist in the way that they exist because of Image Comics, and Rob Liefeld being in his early 20s and being the pioneer that helped wrangle all the all the Image partners to form Image Comics, resulted in me being able to do these books and the adaptations to actually happen. And I think, I just want people to know that. I think it's something that has changed my life. It's changed a number of creators' lives. Your founding of Image Comics is a pivot point in the industry in and of itself. And, people need to recognize what a great achievement it is.
Robert, it is so kind and humbling to hear you say that. And I was going to circle around to how ridiculously proud I think every single person at Image is of you. You are the finest son any movement could ever produce. I mean, there is I was going to get to Comics Pro. I'm fighting back tears. I cannot be more. I look that was just man. I have never had back issues. I had back issues leading up to Comics Pro week. I did not want to drive 90 minutes up to go anywhere because I'm a hermit, and so going up there and it was funny. People don't know I left my house 90 minutes before. The car I am pulling into at the hotel behind is yours. You and Eric Steven come out. We get ready. We watch your Todd and Wanda McFarlane arrive. Couldn't have been prouder. You are man. I mean, I'll get into why I really feel like the industry needs you. And all the great you've done for the business for the comic book business, which I think you have. But I just I mean, like I said, these tablets, I mean, for the last couple days, it's the excitement, it's the pure excitement that I think everyone's filming. I mean, first I went and grabbed my, I reached in and I'm like, okay, I think it's this, and I grabbed my volume 6, and then I realized, no, Rob, you have these, so I went and got this. Oh, issue 1 really isn't necessary anymore. But I mean, when you think about what you're doing with Invincible, and by my estimation, we're in the middle of 2, right? We're in the
Roughly, yeah. I mean, I
we're the
believe so.
midpoint of the whole series. It feels like. Is that right?
I would say that possibly by the end of season 4, that would roughly be the midpoint.
Okay. Okay. So what issue would are we at 66? No, no, no. What are we? What where would you put?
Issue 60, I have trouble remembering as well, but issue 60 is the Invincible War when Angstrom has all the alternate Invincibles attack, and that was episode
Yes.
7 of season 3. So we're definitely into the 70s. 72, I believe, is the first issue of the Viltrumite War storyline, which kicked off in the 5th episode that aired this
Right.
last week.
And we have the coming of Thrag, which is a great name. Where did we get Thrag from? If you've said this before, I apologize. I don't know the answer to this. Where is Thrag? Where is that?
There is no rhyme or reason whatsoever to any of the Viltrumite names, which is kind of funny. Conquest is just a cool sounding name. I was like, oh my gosh, has there been a villain named Conquest? Like, that's a great villain name. So that was just, a random thing. And then you've got names like Thula and Lucan, and he's General Craig in the comic, which is spelled Kregg, but in the TV show, we realized that he would just be General Craig, which just sounds like the name Craig. So we changed that to Krieg, so it would sound a little cooler. And Thrag, I guess, because of Krieg, like, I don't know. I thought it would be nice if there was it's based on like a sound effect. So, Thrag seems like it's like a sound
It's a great
effect
name.
sounding name. And Grand Regent Thrag had a nice ring to it. But people need to know how absolutely haphazardly I name most characters. Because most of the time I am writing a script, I am late, the artist needs pages to keep working, and I go, I don't have a name for this character. Oh my God, what am I going to name this character? Okay. When the pages are drawn and the book needs to be lettered, I can always change that name. So that's the name for now.
Got it.
And then the pages come in and it's time to letter it. And I go, Thrag is fine. We'll just keep it Thrag.
It's awesome. So would you say we just saw 72? Is that what we just saw?
Yeah.
Okay. I got to tell you, man. Like I said, it's just so for people who've never listened or maybe are listening because Robert's on. So I met Robert Kirkman because of Invincible and my love for Invincible, and that he was a new kind of flavor that I had not experienced. And really between you and I've told you this, what Mark Miller and Frank Quietly were doing on Authority, they were the only two comics exciting me on any level in the early 2000s. I was probably burned out, but I was looking for something fresh and new and a little more avant-garde. And so I've been a fan, and I've got all these collections. I've got the slip covers. I've got but to see the episodes and then run back and track them and match them, you're bringing these comics to life, which not many people can say. Not many authors can say they're producing and writing the scripts. I mean, I just I just can't tell you how much I love this.
Well, I mean,
Literally it's comic books come to life.
yeah, one thing that's different about Invincible is that we are trying to adapt the Invincible comic books the way that manga is adapted into anime. You know, we're
Yeah.
not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to change the story in any significant way. As you know, I'm working with co-showrunner Simon Rasiopa and the writing team. As we come up with improvements and ways to refine things and ways to make things better, we do those things. But there's no like very long and involved process at the beginning of the season where, and I'm telling you this happens on a lot of shows, where you go over what happened in the comic and you go, well, we can't do that, so let's try to find out how to turn that into an actual good story. You know, there's too much effort is put into you know, trying to like completely overhaul the comic book story when these adaptations happen. And a lot of the times it's to the detriment. I mean, how many times have we watched a television show or movie based on the comics that we love and thought to ourselves, well, why is this worse?
Yeah.
And it's because somebody with a big ego was like, yeah, I mean, I'll adapt this comic, but I'm going to make it good, which
Yes.
is never the place where you want to be, you know?
I mean, look, and where was I watching the other day where I may have yelled at the screen. It was something that said, "Well, comic books are just soap operas for men," and I went, "Yes,
Yeah,
yes." And so I'm going to
nothing
go
wrong with
back
that.
to episode. I'm going to go back to episode 5, and I think that was episode 5. I'm not counting the entire episode is a nice slow build gathering. You get Nolan's brutal, you know, getting chewed out by Mark's mom, or I don't know if they're exes yet. I don't think they filed for divorce. But and so Joy is going, this is like soap operas for men, and I'm like, yes, I've
Yeah,
always told you this. Like this is why we care. And you know, I just that slow build for 40 minutes, and then, I mean, when Nolan's trying to get the white sauce and has his flashback to when he was still on good terms before he was a traitorous son of a bitch, and now we're in his renewal story. But you do. I mean, the show isn't scared to take its time, which I love.
yeah,
And then when you hit us hard, it's just whoa. And I got to tell you, the animation has leveled up for me. That's the
yeah.
best. That's the best stuff I've seen. Like wow. Um, how many comic book people are working on the show? Corey does. Can you tell me what Corey Walker, how he contributes?
Yeah, I mean Corey is a producer and he helps with the design team. He was the art director. He was the lead character designer for
That's
the
it.
first season, and then he took a producerial role and he kind of oversees that department and helps keep things on model and things like that. But he really is a producer on the show, so he's in all
Yeah.
of the storyboard meetings with me, and he's in the when we go over animatics and things like that. He's getting scripts and going over scripts. When we do our first writers room pass, where we get together for a week and we kind of map out like what issues of the comic we're going to be covering and where they're going to fall in each episode. Corey is present for that and helps me remember things, which is nice.
Script supervisor.
Yeah, just to a certain extent. But yeah, Corey's very involved. I mean, it's funny because like Dan Duncan and Sean O'Neill, who are supervising directors, they've worked in comics. Dan Duncan has drawn Ninja Turtle comics. Sean O'Neill did a pinup in an old issue of Invincible way back in the day. Sean O'Neill and I actually did a 8-page Western story for an anthology many years ago, and then his comics career didn't take off, and so he went and worked in animation. He worked on Voltron with uh, uh, Joaquim DeSantos, and kind of learned his trade, and then has now kind of risen to supervising director level. So there's a lot of comics DNA. I mean, almost everybody in animation has done pinups here and there, and loves comics and wants to work in comics. So there's a lot of crossover.
Did did I see Jay Faber's name?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Jay Ferber wrote one of the episodes in season three.
so I mean, I'm going back through, catching up, revisiting, and I'm like, you really have. And I know Jay was doing television work outside of you before you, but to
Oh
see
yeah,
him on Invincible, no, it's just you're corralling comic
yeah.
book people, which
Well, I mean, Jay was great because he had a ton of experience working on the Supergirl TV show and a bunch of other TV shows. And so he's got a lot of experience in that field. But Jay was doing noble causes at Image when Invincible launched. So I'm always trying to find people that have that perspective. He knows the Invincible world very well because noble causes and Invincible were kind of tied in. There was a lot of crossover between the characters and things back then, and so he was a great addition to the team.
uh, many years ago, I had to sign a multiple NDAs, and I saw animatics of a season that was like 2 years away. Like, so, and that was before another season was ending. So, have you seen animatics to like season five? I mean, or have you seen actual animation?
Yeah, we're getting actual. I mean, try not
No
to get
one's asking for details.
but
No one's asking
no,
for
no, no.
details.
We're getting final animation for season five right now. Right now is when we're doing, ADR. We have the actors come in and redo dialogue to match, some of the animation to kind of enhance things and change things up a little bit. We're doing, there's like slight little corrections to the animation and things that come in, keyframes and things that we'll kind of dress up and kind of make better and little tweaks and things like that. And then all of our sound mixes are happening over the next couple months. So I would say, to hit our window of, like February, March, April, whenever we're trying to come back for season five, the episodes have to be pretty much finalized by, I think, September. So we're kind of in the mix, like trying to wrap
Okay.
things up.
Let's take a great voice like Seth Rogen, okay?
Okay.
Signs on early on. Alan the Alien has only increased in his presence. And, like, so is Seth Rogen still like, and I know you're not going to say any, I've got to get the right answer, but it's still a question. I mean, I'm not looking for anything controversial, but he's become an even bigger star than when he signed on to the show, and he was a big star, big comedic star, now giant award-winning like star. And I'm like, Seth Rogen is. I get excited hearing him being Alan the Alien. Does any of these people? So not Seth Rogen. Now we're not Seth Rogen because he's a good guy and he loves comic books. But is there anybody not identifiable? I'm not asking for name, but is there anybody who signed on early on who are like, wait, what do you mean my role got bigger? I don't have time. No one's big time the cartoon, right? No one has big time the cartoon.
No one has. Yeah, there hasn't been anything like that. There's been a few where we've had to recast because certain timing and things
Okay.
like okay, because we have a 3 month window where we kind of have to
Mm.
get the main voices to do the animation, and if you're not available to give us an hour or two in that 3 month window because somebody's overseas working on some
Mhm.
complicated movie or a TV show or something, and they just can't find the time to break away, then unfortunately we have to recast. But that's not like them big timing us. It's just the practicalities of being a popular in demand actor.
That
But
that
Seth Rogen is one of many actors on the show who have no business being on our show. They're too big to be on our show.
Well,
It makes
that's what
no
I'm trying to get.
sense.
Thank you, thank you. You said that's what I'm trying to get to. This show is star-studded. J.K., Seth, all the different voices. Tell me who Thrag is again.
Oh, Lee Pace.
Yeah, fantastic. These are if we were to see the faces alongside him, I'm blown away. I'm having so much fun with the show. What you're just getting from me is, I just am so thrilled that the show is a new generation's favorite thing. And that's really hard to do. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's a product out of Lucasfilm, at a Marvel proper, at a Warner Brothers. It's just exciting to see people and to go in to go into to Barnes and Noble and see a table where these monstrosities are like this. These are like bricks.
Stop lifting them. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, but yeah, it was it's just so great. And like I buy every new compilation because it's just so fun
Well,
to again consume something that you dig. I even
yeah.
there was somebody who grabbed this, maybe a family member, and said, "Well, that's cool," and I'm like, "Give that back. That's not disappearing into your black hole." I'm how many years ago was this?
I mean, it's fairly rare. It was a exclusive like Skybound figure that we did with McFarlane that was only available, I believe, on our web store. So
I'm
yeah,
holding up the Invincible McFarlane figure, the first one that's still in my blister pack. So,
yeah.
for the
So I
audience that just listens, I just want to identify what I'm holding up.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh, you're not getting the video? Come on, guys. You got to watch the video. What are you
You
doing?
know, my bones are in the listening world. Honestly, see, here's the deal. I do a show with video now, and I don't watch a show with video. Every podcast I experience, I listen to when I'm working and driving and so it's so fun how people interact with this. Occasionally, though, I realize I'm not telling people what I'm holding up. But is there more? I know there's a game on the way, and I want you to tell us about the game.
Sure.
What else can we look in terms of stuff that's coming out from the show?
Buddy, I wish I knew. I'll be honest. I literally can sit in my email and just approve Invincible product, and that can be the day for me. Like, there's just like name it. Are there going to be backpacks? Are there going to be thermoses? Are there going to be
Okay.
tennis shoes? It's getting out of control. Um, yeah, there's multiple board games. And the thing is I don't know what products are. I don't know if they come out next year or next week because I
Right.
can't keep track. So
It's just the pipeline is full.
it's pretty crazy. But
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
tell us about the game. The game launches right as the season ends, right?
Yeah, Invincible Versus. It comes out on April 30th. It is a 3 versus 3 tag fighter game where you pick your three people and they pop in and out during your fight. That's what a tag fighter is. And it's super awesome. It's done by Skybound and our in-house game studio, Quarter Up, and features 18 fighters. It's got a really great roster, and there's going to be all kinds of DLC characters added to it. And it's our first big, huge video game. It's really exciting.
Uh, April, what is the date?
April 30th.
April 30th. And is the last episode like in the April 20th? Like 20s? Is it in the 20s or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The game is designed to launch, I believe, a matter of days after the finale of
Okay.
season 4. So you'll watch the finale of season 4, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe the season is over. I wish there was more Invincible for me to get." And there is in this amazing fighting game, which has a really great story mode that plays like an episode of Invincible. So definitely, people should definitely check that out.
Everybody I know who's into video games, which is pretty much everybody, is really excited about it because I also feel like, look, I don't keep my ear to the ground on video games, but it doesn't feel like there's anything coming down the video game ramp right now. So this is going to be like, bees to honey. I think people are going to jump all over this. I can't wait to see it all. I'll have a family member queue it up, fight it for me, watch it because I just observe. That is too much. I've never been good. In regards to the story, this is my fanboy question, fangirl question. Given your control, given all the so the book ends here. Volume 3 is it, kids. It's spectacular. And I definitely have to talk about your collaborators. Is there any talk of just, and I know you just said, Rob, we're adapting it straight from it, and I said that's great, and here I am saying, hey, any chance you're gonna expand on what's in here, or no chance?
Well, I mean, we did that a little bit this season with
Hmm.
episode 4 of the season,
Hell.
the Hell episode. So that was new stuff that wasn't in the comics. We'll be doing a little bit of that moving forward. Here and there as the seasons progress. I think it's pretty clear from watching that episode that material is going to come back into play at some point in the future. So there will be continuations of that, which will be new things that are in the show. We'll be adapting the comic book directly, but there will be room to add some things here and there, which I'm really excited about because that kind of stuff is going to come out of left field and people won't be able to anticipate it, and it will put us in a position where when we get back to the stuff that's directly from the comics, it will have like it'll be an exciting thing that kind of comes in when you least expect it. So I just think you want to keep people not
Sure.
100% aware of what's going to be happening, even if they have read the comic.
Because I got sad. I went to the last 10 issues, and I read through them, and I'm like, wow. And then I did ask you a question I won't ask you here, because I was like, there's possibilities here. Where I am being that which I criticize the most, why can't I just be happy with what I have? I want to tell you, I am happy with what I have. I will rewatch as...
Yeah.
So we have a mutual. He's more of a friendly acquaintance to you. He's a good friend to me. He was dropping off some comics, some hardcovers, and his name's Murat Michaels, and he told me, he said, Rob, you got to watch the new Invincible. It's incredible. And I said, you drove here, right? You didn't fly here. He goes, yeah, I drove here from Vegas. I said, how'd you watch it? He goes, on my phone, homie, while I was driving. And we went and got burgers, and he told me everything. Dudes are watching this show on phones. They're like, oh, Invincible's up. I'm driving. I'm going. And I'm like, but you were driving. He's like, yeah, kicked ass. Kicked ass. Like, I'm like, okay.
I don't condone this method of watching.
But I'm like,
I couldn't be
so
more against this.
okay, well, bottom line, it's something that really is exciting everybody. Everybody is thrilled, and that's why people are, I think, watching it. I love turning on Amazon and go, there it is, number one, there it is, Invincible. It's telling me number one in 100,000 countries, Invincible. And so
I like that too.
yeah, I'm sure you do. Hey, Ryan Otley did obviously a lion's share of this incredible run that you and Corey started, and I love because especially towards the end and all throughout the run, Corey would always come in, pinch hit, do issues, do chapters. To me, he was never ever long, far from the comic. And
I don't mean to interrupt, but it should
yeah,
be also noted that Corey was present even when he wasn't drawing issues. Corey designed Thrag, Corey designed Universa. Ryan was so busy drawing the pages that anytime, like a lot of times when new characters would show up, he'd be like, yeah, I can't get to that design yet. And I'd be like, all right, well, let me ask Corey. And then Corey would knock something out. And sometimes Ryan would collaborate with Corey, and sometimes we'd just use Corey's design outright. But, and Corey and I, we shared studio space for the majority of the time Invincible was being done, when he was doing Destroyer with me and Irredeemable Ant-Man issues, and he did Marvel Team Up 14 and various different things along the way. He was just a desk away from me, and so I'd be like, I'm thinking about doing this. Does that make sense to you? Do you have any problem with this? And he'd we'd bounce back and forth, and so Corey was very instrumental along the way. Despite the fact that he only did, I think, 18 issues of the 144 issue run.
So Corey Walker gets all my flowers for all of his incredible design work. I am blown away by every single costume and character that he designed. I think he is like one of the best our business ever saw. And there's names that are thrown around like Kirby, like Dave Cockrum. But I mean, Corey's design work is it really is. I mean, I admire it as it's moving, as it's turning on screen, as much as when I'm in these pages. Because I think I told I was going through some comics, and I pulled out an Invincible 3, and I shuddered like, oh, I have Invincible 3. I didn't sell that off in the collection. Okay, and then I found Invincible 9, and then I think I found like So wait, 3, 9, and I think 11. And so I called up my comic book buddies. I said, "What do you think these are worth? You think?" I said, What do you think 9 is? Like 30 bucks?" Like, Rob, that's like $400 raw. I'm like, "Are you shitting me?" But he's like, "Oh, you got to understand, Rob. There's so many new characters in every one of those issues. You forget they're loaded. There's first
Yeah.
appearances galore." And so that was just fun. And again, issue 3, visiting with Corey's work, and 9 is Ryan's first issue. Am I right?
8 is Ryan's
Eight,
first.
eight is Ryan's
Yeah.
first issue. So, look, here's what my entire point is. There's 3 of you, and I'm not diminishing the incredible colorists and Cliff Rathburn, anybody else who jumped on to ink, but really the majority of work. We always talk about Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. We don't mention their inkers. Not that they weren't important. It's just
Poor
the
Joe
bulk of the.
Sennett.
Okay, sorry, Joe, but the majority of the work that is the vision is created between a writer and an artist. And it's just crazy to me that there's 3 of you. There's 3 of you that really generated, and I'm missing the volume 1. It's upstairs. That is, it was already too much. It's just incredible, and I'm thrilled. I know Ryan is out there. I see him at all the shows. I'm so excited for him. Everybody says he's got the biggest lines. He's got the most attention. And I mean, I just am so excited for him because this is killer work. The comic books are so incredibly well crafted. You have a high bar, always have in regards to quality. So expect nothing less. But I met Corey Walker through you. I asked you, "Hey, where'd he come from?" You told me because Corey wasn't present when we met.
Yeah.
And then I said, "And where'd Ryan Otley?" And you said, "I found him online." We struck up, and so I mean, this is really, I just think, an incredible accomplishment when you think of 140 issues. Is it 140 or 144? 140 issues.
144. It's funny, we mentioned Jay Ferber earlier. Jay was looking for an artist on Noble Causes, and Corey hadn't yet decided to step away from Invincible. And so I said, "Hey, Jay, there's this guy named Ryan Otley you should look at. He's really good." And Jay had already talked to a couple other artists by the time I got back to him, and so he didn't end up like even contacting Ryan Otley. Ryan Otley might not even be aware of this, to be 100% true,
Wow.
or to be 100% honest. But then a few months later, Corey was like, "Yeah, I can't do this monthly grind. Like, we got to get somebody else to come in here." And so I was like, "Oh, I'm glad this Noble Causes thing didn't work out with Ryan Otley." And so I was able to get him. But it is funny. There's a different timeline where maybe there's 100 issues of Noble Causes because Ryan Otley took on that book.
I would say this and have said this. I love saying it. Ryan, I believe, is one of the best action artists. Just like there's action directors, why we love John Wick and all that. He's one of the best action artists in the business in the last 25 years. First of all, I think you have to love doing fight scenes and trying to throw different angles and new. But I mean, it's incredible. I have such a love for this body of work, and I just think, hats off, the 3 of you. So here's where I'm going to kind of ask you for a different perspective, given now that it's been 20 years,
Sure.
more than 20 years. What's it like watching it now become, it's not fresh and new anymore. This is now a celebrated run, and you got to look back on it and you go, "Whoa, that was, I was doing this 22 years ago." However you are, subtract 22, however old you are. I mean, I know I subtract. I get to drop into my 30s when I'm enjoying this, which is crazy. But the thing is, what's it like watching it now be rediscovered and collected in new editions that people are finding? And again, like you said, some of these new printings are greater than the old printings.
Oh yeah,
Greater in number.
yeah. Aside from a few anniversary issues, there's not an issue of Invincible that sold over 15,000 copies. There might be like issue 100 might have sold like 22,000 copies, but those are the spikes. So yeah, there's so little of the old Invincible stuff out there. That yeah, it's amazing to find. I mean, we worked on this book for 16 years, month in and month out, toiling away. And we had a great core audience that kept us going, and couldn't be more appreciative of the people that recognized Invincible's greatness early. But now years later, it's this thing that we keep in print that is this like document that we haven't really we haven't done it for a number of years aside from working on the show, and it's still out there. It's still being discovered as if it's a new comic. People are coming to it, reading the full run, commenting online. And it's great. It's great that this work that we Corey and Ryan and I did has stood the test of time and is still being enjoyed to this day, and is being enjoyed for like what we intended it to be. Like, we wanted it to be this celebration of superhero comics that, kind of is a commentary on some superhero tropes and tries to break new ground and push things into a new direction. But overall, like, is a very positive exploration of superheroes and how cool superheroes can be, and the great storytelling that you can do around superheroes. And it's really fun that people are enjoying it so much.
So my next statement, and I'm excited they are too. Like I said, Robert, to see all the different editions, and I'm going to ask you shortly if there are other editions coming. But so I need to frame this very carefully, because this is it's anyone who knows me knows where I sit in regards to my love of Superman, and I have always loved Superman. It's my great kind of like only 9 more years. He'll be in the public domain soon, so I'll get my crack. But here's the deal: you and I watched Man of Steel. I probably liked it maybe a lot more than you, but at the time you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we both spoke shortly after the movie. I remember I was sitting in my lounge chair talking to you about your opinions on Man of Steel, and I told you that I felt that the third act felt very much like an Invincible comic. I felt like Zack Snyder had looked like that, felt like Mark versus Nolan, Invincible versus, and I remember you like, yeah, and there was, okay, I think there was some resignation that like it probably would make your, because we all know how hard it is to get executives and producers to believe. So that was then, and this is why I need to really gauge my own love of Superman. When I say this, it is with the greatest respect of Superman, but I believe now, in the same way that when Star Wars came out, suddenly Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon had a Star Wars problem. They were not defining the space anymore, and they were certainly not at top of mind. Suddenly Star Wars and everything in the science fiction realm was trying to be Star Wars. I was there. I watched it in 78, 79, 80. Battle Beyond the Stars, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers. Everything had this aesthetic. Yeah. I really believe, Robert, you can say nothing, nod, but I'm going to say it. I believe Superman has an Invincible problem now. I believe the tables have 1,000% turned. And I mean, I really do believe the space of this style of superhero is now being defined by what you and Ryan and Corey did and what the show is doing. And it's up to Superman to somehow adapt.
Maybe. Well, I mean, listen, I love saying Superman sucks because it seems to make the internet go crazy every time I do it. But like, I'm buying the Triangle like era omnibuses. I'm very excited. I love Superman. I buy Superman comics. I like, we watch Man of Steel, love Man of Steel. So like, when I talk about Superman sucking, it's just because it's funny to me.
Yeah.
I think you're trolling, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll back up a little bit. So just to be 100% clear, it is absolutely absurd for me to be watching Man of Steel and go, I think Zack Snyder's looking at my comic book.
Yes.
I don't think that happened. But to be clear, what you're talking about is when something enters the space. Mm-hmm. Like if I was out there trying to get an Invincible movie made, when Man of Steel happens, suddenly the town that is Hollywood is like, yeah, no, we've seen that. That's the third act of Man of Steel. And so you're kind of dead in the water. And that does happen. Now, are we doing that to Superman right now? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I like what James Gunn is doing. I think that a DC universe that has like a Superman facing focus is a way to make the DC universe unique, and I think that's cool. I don't know. When I see Superman comics where they're giving Superman a kid, And when I see Superman cartoons where they're making the Kryptonians Viltrumites, sometimes I'm like, that's kind of weird. Uh,
It,
but
it,
uh,
it,
but
it,
but
it's
but
true.
very creative people are doing this stuff, and I think it's a zeitgeist thing. It's not necessarily like anyone going, well, the Kryptonians would be cooler if they were more like Viltrumites. Although let's be honest, that's true. It's I don't think it's a deliberate thing.
Sticking with
Like
Vulture, sticking with Vultramites. And here's the deal. I think. Look, I'm talking about the 13-year-olds. And look, I've been able to meet a lot of younger people, and my kids are now in their very young. My two youngest are in their young 20s. So we're leaving teenage behind. But I have nephews, and they're 16 and they're 12, and so I get to interact, and their viewpoint of Invincible versus their they have kind of a grandpa view towards Superman, and so it's more than a James Gunn issue. It's just there's something new in the space. Like I said, the Star Wars Flash Gordon, Star Wars Buck Rogers, those were the two, from their black and white serials, all of the ways that they define science fiction suddenly was over. George's vision kind of started redefining. I just feel that that is happening right now. It must be entertaining. Let's agree, whatever it is, it's entertaining for you. Sticking with the Vultramites. So, how far in? So you got Mark, and you knew that Omni Man he would battle his father in this very emotional, confrontation to end kind of the first year of Invincible that would set all of us kind of our heads on fire and holy shit, and it was exciting. Then you
Oh,
start.
should we
Yeah,
give props to Jim Valentino real quick?
go ahead.
So that was not planned to be the capper of the first year of Invincible. It was planned to be the capper of the first 2 years of Invincible. That whole story with Omni-Man was planned to be in issue 25 because that was 25 will be the big marker. And in discussing it with my publisher at Image at the time, Jim Valentino, he said the famous words, "What? Don't save that for issue 25. There isn't going to be an issue 25. Move that up to now." I think issue 5 was out, and I was like, I don't know, man. I might be able to get it up to issue like 12 or 13. And he was like, no, can you have it happen in issue 6? Your book is dying.
He said it on this
And
show. He said it on this
yeah,
show. He said, Robert, you're not going to have an issue 12 or 13 or something,
yeah,
like it was
yeah, yeah. And
and Jim's
so that's
delivery is great.
So that's why I kind of split the baby and I had Omni Man kill the Guardians of the or Guardians of the Globe. Whoops, the Guardians of the Globe uh, in issue 7, and then I kind of slow rolled into the big confrontation with Mark in issue. I think it started in issue 11. But yeah, that structure wasn't even. It was originally going to be him killing the Guardians of the Globe in 25, and then the fight starting with Mark like immediately after. And so yeah, it changed everything. And from issue 7 coming out and the death of the Guardians, the sales on the book started spiking, and yeah, it was it really turned things around. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail
No,
that, but I
no, this
had
is good.
to,
I love it.
Jim Valentino as publisher of Image Comics, like very much saved Invincible early in the days of it because I was just a newbie writer that wasn't considering sales.
I'm so glad you listened to him. I just know, look, I learned a lot from Jim. He's really smart. He's really tuned into history and comic book history. And there was one point he got a bunch of comic books in front of me in like 1988, and he said, Rob, the fourth issue of most comics feature a guest star. He dropped down Avengers 4, Captain America. He dropped down Teen Titans, the George Perez, Marv Wolfman, the Justice League show up. And he would take me through these, you know, I hate to call them tropes, but that's what they are, is like, and at the time I was like, wow, I had never connected. And even in Guardians of the Galaxy 4, I believe he has a guest star. Like he was telling me how he planned it. And is it X-Force 4 that Spider-Man's in? Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm now following that model. So I mean, he's just a really smart guy. I learned so much of him at such a young age, and I'm just glad that whatever involvement, and clearly he made a difference. But so that even makes it more interesting in regard, because as we like something like a Star Wars, I understand that Darth Vader is the bad guy, and then and we've heard about the Emperor, then we see the Emperor, okay, in Empire Strikes Back, and then in the third installment, the Emperor is, on full display, huge focus, and it's like this escalation of evil and bad guys. One thing that I have loved about this series is, so there was Nolan slash Omni Man's turn, and then there was, he leaves, and then we meet more villainous Vulturites. Then you got Conquest, and you go, well, you can't get bigger than Conquest. And then you're like, no, 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 no. Here comes Thrag. And it's this escalation throughout the series of, oh, there's a bigger bad. Huge admiration for what you've accomplished there. And I am just so excited that season 4, here we are. Can we expect some real nasty Thrag stuff? Because it's in here, kids. It's in here. It's in here.
Well, if it's in there, it's going to be in the show. It's just a matter of when. So yeah, there's some really good, yeah. Lee Pace just recently did some interviews. If you don't want spoilers, don't seek those out. Because he maybe he maybe some things slipped out where I was like, ooh, but yeah, there's some stuff coming up. People might be excited for issue 7 of season 4 or episode 7. People. Episode and issue is just completely interchangeable, and it is the most frustrating aspect of our lives. It's like when Mad Men came out, and because of Mike Allred's Mad Men comic book, none of us could say, "Oh yeah, I'm watching that new show on AMC. It's called Mad Men." Mad Men.
Yes. I just, how much of that was planned? How much of Conquest to then Thrag? What was that? How was that planned in advance? Was it a year in advance? Was it years of planning?
It's like vaguely I knew that I wanted to be able to do Invincible for a good long time, and so in order to have Invincible constantly be engaging, there has to be escalation. So, vaguely I knew okay, there'd be, Conquest is not the boss of the Viltrumites. So I didn't know who Thrag was. I hadn't mapped out exactly who or what he would be. But when we were introducing Conquest, I knew, okay, well, Conquest is going to be this, but I have to make sure that the eventual boss of the Viltrumites, which naturally is going to be introduced, has to be a level above. So I just kind of kept that kind of stuff in the back of my mind. And sometimes, and I can't think of specifics, but sometimes I would be writing a fight and you can be like, okay, well, I didn't do this, but when you're writing the Conquest fight and his hand punches through Conquest's fist, it's like I could in that moment go, hold on, can I diminish this moment a little bit and save that version of the moment for when he fights Thrag later? That I would do things like that where I would make sure that there was a level above what I was doing that I could do next. So yeah, and then that, and that goes all the way to the end of Invincible, because there's things with Thrag that continue to escalate where he, faces, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who's just watching the show and hasn't read the comics, but if you've read the comics, Thrag is introduced and he does A, and then he does B, and it's like a level above, and then he does C, and it's a level above that, and then by the end of the series, he's doing D, and you're like, what the hell? This is insane. And it's so you get that escalating sense, because if you're reading issue 130 of a comic and the biggest, baddest, craziest stuff happened in issue 60, you're going to be like, well, why am I still reading this comic? That was the pinnacle. It's clearly coasting now. And so we never wanted to have anybody ever get the sense of, we're just kind of coasting now. So, and hopefully that will translate to the show. And so when you're watching, if we're fortunate enough to go past season 5, when you're watching future seasons, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it got bigger.
No, there is a more empirical, tyrannical element that Thrag represents that I'm excited by. And I'm going to go back to his costume design, his George Clooney haircut, his massive fur robe. I mean,
Yeah.
it's he's just a badass. I look, some of this stuff, like the fight I just saw. It's great. Ryan crushed it drawn when he drew it, but seeing Mark spit a thumb out on screen is so, you're like, that happened. That just happened. And like you said in the ADR, the sound on that was a perfect huck to a. I mean, it was a great. Yeah. So yeah, it's so I look
Well,
super
you
excited.
haven't lived, Rob, until you've been in a sound mix, and you're like, I need to hear more spaghetti squish on the intestine scene. And
Oh
then you get to
God.
watch it again, and you're like, all right, that was a 6. Can we go to an 8 and see what that sounds like?
Robert, you are having, I think you're just reminding all of us you're having the best time. You're having and that's going to be a through line as we continue here. No one is having a better time in comics than you. No one, there's no possible way anyone's having a better time. And it's exciting. It's fun to watch. I mean, it's just, we're going to touch on some more of this as we get into some of your new books that we're going to talk about because your accomplishments continue to escalate. So with Invincible, look, here's what I think happens. This is my personal theory, not in the story, but in the effect. I think the show ends because this is what I saw with season 3.
Wait, what? When?
No, no, no.
You saying?
When the season ends, when the season ends in a couple weeks,
Okay.
there are people who are going to wait and binge it all,
Yeah.
and so you're going to get this. I saw Invincible excitement through season 3 was going up, and then the season ended, and it suddenly just shot off. It's like when the seasons end, it suddenly, whether it's seeking out your game, grabbing action figures, going and buying more comic books, that everyone just kind of, I think, wants to keep the feel going, and they want to keep, it's what happened when we were kids with Star Wars, and it's like, oh, again, no internet, no freeze framing of images, just what your memory had until action figures and paraphernalia, because we all wanted to keep that vibe. So it'll be interesting. I definitely believe at the end of season 4, the excitement is going to ramp up, and there's going to be an echo that lasts for months. Because last year it carried all the way through summer, and now
Yeah.
Battle Beast, which is back out with Ryan. So you and Ryan are continuing to tell the further adventures of the Invincible Universe.
Yep.
So what's in store? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, I mean, in Battle Beast, like you were talking about with Ryan, Ryan does these insane fights, and the whole, Battle Beast is one of our most like fight heavy characters, and he's just out there trying to find an opponent strong enough to kill him. And we're doing this new series, and it's the thing is when you end a series, you're kind of closing the book on it, and we closed the book on Invincible, issue 144. We were very happy with the way it ended and the response to the ending, and felt like, okay, we tied a nice bow onto it and people like it. It takes a lot to open that back up, because we've done these crazy escalating fights and everything landed really cool. So to come back and do Battle Beast, we have to be 100% aware that every single like action sequence and fight that happens in Battle Beast is going to be compared to the best fights in Invincible. And so it's very nerve-wracking to go, okay, so here we go, let's try it again. Let's see if older, tireder Ryan and Robert can compete with younger, faster Ryan and Robert.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
So far, so good. Yeah, yeah, but
Great
it's
stuff.
a little daunting. I got to tell you, he's wrapping up issue 11 as I am saying this, and there is a sequence in issue 11 that is so spectacular, it's so epic that I think people are going to be really blown away. But then in the like interest of hey, how do we make this as big as possible? Big part of the series is Battle Beast fighting Conquest,
Yes.
which never happened before. And when I got into like figuring out what this series was, you don't see Battle Beast in between. He's introduced in issue 19. He doesn't show up again until issue 55. And it's so funny that people didn't ask questions about this when we were launching the book, but like the main question I wanted to answer with the series is, how does he get into a Viltrumite prison? So if he's going to get into a Viltrumite prison, he's going to have to encounter some Viltrumites. And the timing worked out great in that this could have been Conquest's mission before he was sent to Earth. And so it all like works out really well, and actually kind of, like some of the things that he says in the fight with Mark in the original series, where it's like, I'm usually sent to do this and I usually have these parameters, but now I'm being told to cut loose. It's like, well, okay, so those parameters might apply to the Battle Beast fight. So there will be like some cool things where when you read these issues of Battle Beast, you'll be able to go back and read Invincible and be like, oh my God, like that totally lines up. That's neat. Cool. Look at that. But it's really exciting to like have this like little chunk of continuity that we can explore and do some cool stuff with. And yeah, I mean, and then, Battle Beast, fighting Conquest has to compete with some of the epic Battle Beast fights that I won't spoil that are in the Invincible comic. And so we definitely know our marching orders and are doing everything we can to break our backs into, or I'm doing everything I can to break Ryan's back into making these fights as epic as possible.
Couple things. Yes, you both are crushing it. It's incredibly exciting, incredibly engaging. I missed the hell out of it while it was gone, but I understand. Just like now, seasons get these breaks. We're getting breaks because everybody needs to rest up and give us their best stuff. And unlike the Marvel and DC of the past, that no one wants, kind of subpar, not connected fill-in issues. We want the good stuff. So we're willing to wait for the good stuff. We've got the good stuff. Was it issue 7 that just arrived? Again,
Yes.
okay. So issue 11, that's in the fall. That's in the fall.
No, I mean, is that July? Is that somewhere around in there?
Eight is 8 April or May? Issue 8.
April.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe August or September. I can't wait. You've got me. The reason I was smiling, if you were watching while I was smiling while you were talking about this, what I wanted to blurt out was that I learned the hard way that Battle Beast is Image's best-selling book. In my hype, I forgot who I was talking to, and I may or may not have had my copy of Dork in front of me, and I said it's the flagship comic of Image. And because we're having fun, and look, this show champions truth. Whatever people say, I come on here, whether it's somebody on message boards the other day were like, well, some of those old comics journals and Amazing Heroes, they're not real, capsules of time. They're just hyperbolic. They're just interviews with a lot of hyperbole. And I said, just because someone is excited about what they're saying does not mean what they were saying was not true. And there's nothing more important than the interviews, right, that are shared. So we always try and lean in on the side of truth. And in the interest of truth, I was reminded, Rob, Battle Beast is the best-selling Image comic. And I'm like, I apologize. No, I forgot that how great Battle Beast is selling. It is Image's top selling comic book, which is incredible, badass, and that takes nothing away from out of nowhere Dork. So now, as I've told you, Dork is the flagship to me of 2020, the movement of 2026. Yeah.
Hold on, let me update you because the conversation you were referencing was a few weeks ago. I think Dork is now outselling Battle Beast. So congratulations to that being.
Wow. I would never tell people like I never tell people to buy anything for money. But damn it, is this looking like the best investment ever every single day?
It is a legitimate, like it is absolutely insane. I told Brett privately, I can say this. I was on the phone with him and I was just like, you don't understand the things that you're like that you're experiencing, like they don't happen. Like this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like I think his second issue sold 3 times as much as his first.
It is.
Like, I don't think that's ever happened in the history of comics.
We just want to applaud, give him all his flowers. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. I am excited that I was super honored. I have a Brett Bean Bad Rock cover for issue number 1 that we haven't shown yet, but I've become very patient in my old age. I'm fine not showing it. I've been looking at it for weeks, and I'm very intimidated because Brett asked me to do a cover to Dork, and I've done about 1 million sketches because I'm like, I can't live up to this guy. Like, you don't want to be that guy that's like, oh, he did the cover. That's disappointing. So it's tough, but he really is clearing bars that are not that are very difficult to clear. As that's what you're really kind of saying, and achieving things that just don't happen. They just don't happen. But
No,
Battle
and it's
Beast,
just it's a great. I mean, and again, to give you credit, like the company that you founded, to for it to happen at Image, it is Brett Bean's success. It's not
that's
the
correct.
head of X company's success or the head of other company's success. It's Brett Bean's success because Image, has its structure to where everything filters down to the creator, and the company is not taking massive chunks of profits from the books. It's a remarkable system, and again, it hasn't changed. It's been around for 30 years, and at no point has anyone in the company said, "Hey, let's restructure this a little bit." That is the big difference. That happens everywhere else. Everywhere else. So like any other company would see me and they would go, "Oh shit, we can never let that happen again because that guy got a bunch of money that could have been ours. Let's change things for the next guy." And Image has never done that. So I don't know. Image does not get enough credit. I understand I'm a part of it now, so I feel a little biased.
No,
And
no,
so
it does.
my words may not carry as much weight as they should, but it is a remarkable company that benefits creators to no end, and it's changed people's lives.
So before, because I want to jump right in the pool with you in regards to this, I just want to tie it up and go. Battle Beast is awesome. It's coming out. It's a continuation. If you want to continue those vibes with Invincible, grab it. I grab it. I buy it with my own money. I don't get comps. I'm a fan. Here's the deal. Everything you're saying about Image, that's why I get excited for you and for Brett and for anybody else in the space who is having success. Image Comics was a direct result of guys like myself, Eric Larson, Valentino. When we grew up, I think our appetite for comic books was so much that whatever was coming out from Marvel and DC just wasn't enough to satiate us. And so we would grab a Nexus #1. I was coming back from the beach with my parents. I'm probably 14, 15, can't drive yet. It was a Saturday afternoon. I hopped in the car, went to the beach with my parents, had a beach day. There was a comic book store in Huntington Beach right as you're, driving away from the beach. I asked my parents if they could pull in. I went in. There was a magazine-sized comic book I'd never seen with a painted cover by Paul Gulacy, who I knew from his Marvel work on Masters of Kung Fu. And then I looked inside, and this incredible artwork. It was black and white by Steve Rude and this writer named Mike Barron. It was 3 times the cost of a regular comic. I plopped it down. I was so excited, and I read their Mike Barron is talking to me in the back of the book about this is his vision. He and Steve Rude came up with this world, Nexus, all these characters. And Nexus, if you're not familiar with it, went on, the audience, if you're not familiar with it, it went on to be published for 2 decades. And they had incredible amount of talent like Robert on some of the other books that he has. Big, giant names in the business like Paul Smith and others stepped in and did runs. But whether it was Nexus, whether it was Wendy Peeney with ElfQuest, talking to us in the back of the comic book about how she barely finished the issue and got it to the printer so that she could mail it to everybody. It's this like, wow, I can make comics that I own and I can control and I can be the big boss of, and no one is inhabiting that more than you. It's exciting to watch. It's inspiring. I mean, Robert, I'll be honest. I didn't know how much I needed your comics pro speech. I think I'm still coasting off those fumes. It really inspired me. You really summed up your career and kind of, some of the hurdles that you've cleared, because it wasn't all, wine and roses for you at different times. And you reminded everybody, and it's fantastic because you stayed the course. And all these great stories are now being sought after in a big way because you own Invincible, you controlled it, you owned it. Walking Dead, you decided I'm going to take this to AMC instead of all these other places. You were, obviously, look, you were very kind. And when my oldest son was the biggest Walking Dead fan I could ever hope to meet. At San Diego one year, you just grabbed him, said, "Meet us at a party," and you're like, "Hey, here's Rick." I'm not going to know all their names. Here's Negan. And Luke Liefeld met 12 cast members at some press junket, and you could not have been more generous. It is still one of the highlights of his young 25-year-old existence, but that is because you owned it. And like you said, that's what we started Image with that intent.
That was the best because that was a licensor meet and greet. Like they were literally there to meet the people that were doing the Walking Dead lunchbox and the Walking Dead guitar and the Walking Dead, DVD packaging, and so there's people from Anchor Bay and whatever. So they're in glad hand mode. So like to be able to slip you guys in was great because they're already like there to be personable. So yeah, it was the best possible scenario, and that was.
Yeah, I mean, literally, Andrew Lincoln couldn't have been sweeter. But to everyone who's listening, Robert Kirkman puts Luke Liefeld under his arm, walks him over, said, "Andrew, this is my buddy Luke." Luke's like, "Oh my God, Rick Grimes." Then hey, let's go meet. What's Captain Handsome's name? Negan. His
Norman
name.
Reedus or
Norman Reedus also handsome, but no Negan. What's Negan's name?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
I'm like, Jeffrey Dean Morgan could not have been kinder. Like, and literally maybe like was like the most chill and just hanging out with Luke. And I'm just sitting off to the side letting him do his thing. But that's that entire cast. And let's be honest, Andrew Lincoln experienced a career beyond that which he probably could have encountered up until that point because he played your character. You're extremely well written. I mean, Walking Dead is a modern masterpiece, and he got to be the main character. And again, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, I met him in as a fan. Laying in a bed on Grey's Anatomy because Joy, that was her favorite show, and suddenly he's the worst villain, like the most feared and brutal villain ever, and gets this entire new glow up because of inhabiting a character that you brought to life. So again, yes, Image Comics. I join with you in the thrill that it is to watch whoever is the next Brett Bean, Robert Kirkman, all of us. I get excited when I see Mark Silvestri make a video and say, "Hey everybody, Witchblade, hey everybody, Cyberforce," hey, that just turns me on. Like, because we did stay true and you guys stayed true. And I literally will send an email to Eric Stevenson, God bless him, and go, you should brag about Image more. Image is crushing it right now. Image is crushing it. We need to talk about how much Image is crushing it because it is life changing. And look, here's the deal: the fans are responding to this stuff.
Well, everybody's talking about how many new people Absolute Batman is bringing into the comic book stores, but those people go into the comic book stores and they buy a copy of Absolute Batman and they walk out with 5 Image comics as well. So it's a good time for all of us.
I said on my last episode, I wanted to talk about the Absolute phenomenon for what it was. I told everybody during that episode, we are getting to Invincible because Invincible and Image Comics and Skybound and Energon Universe, this is what they, I don't mind telling you, there are retailers who call all of Image Energon Universe, and I don't correct them. All these books from Energon, and I'm kind of like, Dork is not an Energon comic, but I get it. Like you said, Invincible is driving people to comic stores, curiosity, and then they're hearing about Dork. And like I said, this doesn't maintain its staying power unless it's so well conceived and produced. And also, this is not a comic you're getting from anybody else but Image right now. Like DC and Marvel are not going to give you this. That's the thing I love about Image. So you have already leaned into it. So as a partner, what else? Give me more, like how excited you are to watch this.
Oh, I mean, I think it's a great time to be a comics fan. I think that, when you look at what Marvel and DC do in the grand scheme of the world, it's actually kind of limiting. Like there's not an HBO Max that just gives you superhero shows. There's not a Prime Video that's just giving you superhero shows. And so anything around the comic book industry that, generates excitement is going to eventually funnel things to Image Comics, because Image Comics is, if people love manga and they decide to try American comics, well, manga mostly translates to Image Comics. Image Comics, it's horror, it's sci-fi, it's action, it's romance, it's a mixture of all. It's sci-fi horror, it's horror superhero, it's everything. And that's where you get the most original ideas and new ideas and new concepts and things that are off the beaten path. And so yeah, and the fact that Dork is doing well, and White Sky, and things like Red Roots and Corpse Night, which are launching soon, I think. The numbers on those books are absolutely astronomical. It's insane, this excitement around everything that Image is doing right now, which I think is very justified because I hate to do this because I can't keep track of like what's public and what's not. So I'm not going to name. I mean, Criminal is happening at Amazon. I know that's public. Witches. Scott Snyder's thing is an animated series at Amazon. There's I want to say there's like 12 different projects right now that are in varying stages of development and production that are adapting comics very closely. And this fervor around Image Comics that's happening right now is only going to get bigger as these projects launch, and the effect that you're seeing around Invincible is just going to grow exponentially when Invincible launches 1 month, and then there's a new season of this launching the next month, and a new season of this, and a new season of this, and it's a really exciting time for comics in general because of that.
Am I saying James Tynion? Is it Tynion or Tynion?
I think it's Tynion.
So I know he's got a bunch of stuff that I keep reading about. A lot of his, he does a lot of different books, but I think some of his Image titles are also, like you said, moving forward with media. So I just wanted to throw his name in there because he's the guy who really turned me on when he left Batman behind. At a time when Batman was really exciting people again, right out of the pandemic with Jorge Jimenez, and he was dropping all manner of new, fresh characters, and it looked like he and Jorge were having the very best time. And then one day it's like, I'm leaving. I'm going off to expand my creator-owned empire, which is what he did. Yeah. And like I was like, this is awesome because they are few and far between.
No, and I would say James is definitively the smartest modern creator. He's the only guy that at the height of his popularity did what you guys did when you founded Image, and you took that audience to the books that you own. I think that's the name of the game in comics. That's how you have a career that has longevity. That's how you have a career that has a retirement plan. That's how you have a career that is successful long term. You build that popularity, and you have to recognize when you're as close as possible to that apex of popularity, and you have to shut off the valve of I'm doing books that other people own, and open up the valve of, if you want me, you can only get me here, and I own all of this stuff. That's the pivot point, and 90% of creators miss that pivot point, and they're just like, no, wait, I'm getting big checks and exclusive contracts, and I'm on the #1 book, and it's like, so is 1,000 different names I can name who are now not working. Like you have to leave when you're at that point. You cannot stay.
Robert, it is a basic understanding 101, and hats off to I think all the guys who also with Jeff Johns and their movement. They all took the same kind of big leap. Jason Fabok, super in demand. They would have loved to have had him doing an X-Men book, and instead he does Rook, and Rook's a cool badass. I was lingering. He put up on his social media this kick-ass shot, and he said, this is a shot of Rook from Rook Exodus. It's got the gun, that cool mask, and I'm like, how cool. Jason Fabok, took that leap when he was definitely being pursued, and I can tell you personally, I know Marvel wanted him. And here's the thing what we're not like. It's what Todd said. Well, if we fail, we can always get work at DC. It was like as long as there's 2 companies. And you know what? Now there's 3 with Skybound. There's going to be work somewhere. Someone's going to hire you. Take that leap. Maybe you can draw G.I. Joe if it doesn't work out, or Transformers, or do an arc on Terminal issue 100, whatever. And we're going to get to Terminal. We're gonna get to Terminal.
To say clear though, James Tynion could go and do another Batman book right now. Like, it's not like DC.
That's right.
Oh, you left. You never get to do Batman again. They would jump at the chance for him to do
Yeah.
Batman. Like, he has not hurt his career at all. He has only strengthened his career.
I just, my personal viewpoint is, it's a way, it's a signal of strength when you leave on your own. It's a signal of saying, I believe in myself. And I'm gonna tell you something. As we're doing this morning, there's a great account on X called Comic Historians, and the guy that does Comic Historians, he retweeted our CNN. Maybe it's the anniversary, but the story from CNN when and really, I shared it because I wanted everybody to know that where Eric Larson and Mark Silvestri and myself, and you can see Dan Frega, where all of us, Jim Valentino, are drawing. Alex Grand is the name of the really nice guy, and he has his account called Comics Historian, and he put up I'm not going to run it, but here's the CNN story, and I'm like, this is Extreme Studios. This is we were all in my studio because CNN said we want to do.
There too, right?
Yes, he flew in. He literally flew in to be part of it. Mark drove up from LA. Jim and I were in Orange County. For whatever reason, I don't think Jim was committed yet. Jim Lee, Todd obviously just couldn't make the flight from Washington. But in that CNN story, I didn't share it because I just wanted to keep it on the positive. But what you're saying, when Marvel is asked to comment, because it's a business section of CNN, and it's talking about how much money Marvel lost. It talks about how our movement hit them in the pocketbook and their stock dropped.
Yeah.
And Marvel's press release said Marvel wanted to remind everybody that it's always been the characters that matter more than the creators. And I'm like, there you go. Has anything changed? I don't think so. Hi, Kevin. But the thing is, that they are still all about there'll be somebody else to draw Spider-Man tomorrow. And when you leave and go on your own, it's a real strength. Yeah. So I want to talk more about what you're building out. And part of what you shared when you were at Comics Pro was your bitchin' new comic book called Terminal. That is launching in July. And I could not be more excited. I know how long you've been putting this together. No, I mean, it's exciting. Here's what I want to go back. Robert is you are a strategician on another level. I've never seen anybody like it. I used to not understand it as well as I do now. But you're like, I will build this for 3 years. Because I'll be like, hey, when are you announcing that Dave Finch book? 2 years. Hey, when are you announcing that Dave? Maybe next year. Hey, when are you announcing that? We bumped it to 6 more months. And you're just confident because you're like, we're just getting more pages done, and then boom, we're going to announce Skinbreaker, and it's going to hit, and it's got hundreds of pages. And so with Terminal, it's just another one of your very well planned out, new comic books. So tell us about Terminal.
Terminal is a book I've co-created with Joe Casey, Andy Kubert, David Finch, and Arthur Adams. And it is a big return to superhero comics for me. And it's about two opposing forces that are trying to save the world in different ways. One way that kind of seems negative and one way that kind of seems positive. And, the different conflicts that comes from that. But it is a sprawling, epic, superhero story that has, like you were talking about Invincible, there's a ton of different characters that get introduced every issue, and things are expanding and growing as time goes on. And, the title Terminal is not a mistake. It's a very high stakes comic that is going to, one of the reasons we're introducing a bunch of characters because a lot of them die. So it's, I've said that, if Invincible was like a superhero story that was told through like a Spider-Man lens, this is an X-Men story that's told through a Walking Dead lens. So it's kind of like what you would get from like a cool 90s X-Men comic is the goal, which is, might be why that artist team is who they are. And then the other thing behind that is, monthly comics is a grind. And to get comic books out fairly regularly, there needs to be like a multiple like art team thing going. And we wanted to have something that was planned from the beginning. So when it is an Andy Kubert issue, there's a reason Andy Kubert's drawing it. And there are certain aspects of the series that Dave Finch handles. And so when Dave Finch is drawing issues, that's all deliberate. And same with Arthur Adams. When you're getting full issues by Arthur Adams, those are characters that he designed and he contributed, and that's part of the overall tapestry. And Joe and I are weaving the stories in a way that all of the different artists are like playing to their strengths, and it all kind of like works together. And it's not this guy's doing this half of the story and then someone else is coming in to finish it because they fell behind schedule. Like everything is mapped out well ahead of time, and it's all deliberate, and it's going to be pretty fun.
You have said I wanted to watch other interviews with you, just to catch up with what you've been saying since the Invincible promo went into high gear, and some of them you mentioned Terminal, and you've been very open with that there's a blind bag component to this, which is very common. Daredevil and Marvel's really getting into the blind bags. Yeah. DC's done them. If I knew how to do one, I'd do one. But you are on record as saying you want yours to be next level stuff that nobody sees coming. And so with Battle Beast, you had issue 2 in some of them. I mean, I can't imagine being a guy who got one and like, I just bought issue 1. Holy crap, there's issue 2. There's issue 2 of Battle Beast in my hands with issue 1. I mean, and then you had your, nobody knew that the Marvel team up reprint was coming. And that was
can you like, like you're saying, I always put myself in the place of the fans because I am a fan. And so to open a Battle Beast blind bag and Spider-Man falls out, it's like, wait, what just happened?
Robert, I here what I'm asking you is, we can expect more of that with Terminal?
Yeah. I mean, we're doing that. We're doing Skybound is launching Mask #1 in June and Terminal #1 in July. Both of them have blind bag programs. I like to say they're the best in class blind bag programs because we do that kind of like special things. So when you're opening a Mask bag, there are things in that bag that do not make sense and you are not going to understand how they exist. And same with Terminal. There are going to be things in that bag that make no sense and you're going to be like, wait, what? Like, how is this possible? And that's exciting to me. Like that brings excitement into the comic shop. It helps make that an event space that people can enjoy, and promotes like going into that comic shop, getting that blind bag, sharing that experience. With Battle Beast, like one of the things that touched me the most were these videos of people having like blind bag opening parties in comic shops. There were like rows of people opening bags, and I got this, and whoa, and I got that, and whoa, and like the excitement around that is just like really moving, and to be able to have that experience in comic shops, I think is very special. And so we're trying to do more than just, I don't know, throw a bunch of foil covers in a bag.
No, I gotta tell you, like I said, when Battle Beast #2 is coming, I mean that the sensation that must give somebody, especially because here's the deal, I gotta like, my passion for comic books is it means everything to me, and I love anything that gets people excited about comics and anything that makes me feel like I was 10 years old again, and this stuff, especially the way you're approaching it, brings back that really youthful excitement. And I mean, it gives people so much happiness. There's people out there who want to. I had to get over it myself. I had to get over the variant bias, and I think I've successfully done that. But I saw how happy it makes people at these conventions these last couple of weeks. Why are people waiting in line for 2 hours? Because they want these variants. They make them happy, and no, they're not all being flipped. They're going right into those people's collections, and they are excited by them. And so I think what you're doing is great. And in regards to Terminal, how do we break down like the Andy Kubert section, the Art Adams section, and you mentioned Dave Finch, the Dave Finch section, the stuff we know about?
they're all handling full issues. Where those issues fall and how that exactly works. You know, people will find out as the solicits roll out. Like I don't
Okay.
want people to know exactly where things are landing, but it's not a case of this guy does 8 pages and this guy does 10 pages. It'll all be like, oh, this is an Andy Kubert issue. This is a David Finch issue. This is an Arthur Adams issue, and and I think it'll be exciting because of that. Like every one of those guys is an A-list like marquee talent that you would kill to get a comic from. So to be reading a book and then all of a sudden it's like, oh gosh, I'm getting David Finch next month. This is going to be exciting. Or holy crap, I'm getting Arthur Adams. But Andy Kubert is obviously the lead artist. He's drawing issue 1 and drawing the entirety of the first arc. Actually, I can say that.
Okay.
And then things start to roll from there.
So let's talk about the Skybound stable of artists, because I'll be honest, Robert, I used to look at like certain, like, there's no denying that my class, the guys I was with in the 90s, from Larry Stroman to Whilce Portacio to Mark Teixeira to Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, myself, and whoever else I'm leaving out, and then the X-Men, and then the Spider-Man office with Todd and Eric and maybe Sal. I mean, just Todd and Eric. You had 3 books with them, so 2 out of 3 are just all-time bangers. But we as fans got used to a certain stable of artists and going, oh, I can rely on this family to give me a stable. During Superman's peak, you had Jurgens, Ordway, Bogdanov, established names. People dug them, and they were reliable. You have created a stable I've watched and gone, oh damn, oh damn. Like I'm like, Robert you are really getting this incredible buildup of talent. Daniel Warren Johnson on Transformers, all of the people that you've assembled for all of the different Energon books, then this stable of, and so I'm going to tell you what I was saying to myself at the table as I talked to myself, listening to your Comics Pro, because I didn't know you were going to announce Terminal there. I didn't know, I had seen pages. I didn't know you were going to put it on screen and it was going to be formal and there was going to be the ash cans. And I went, it's all the X-Men greats. It's, Dave Finch, Ultimate X-Men, all those killer Cable covers that he did and those crossovers. And then you got Art Adams as an X-Men legend. And you got Andy Kubert, the X-Men artist in the 90s. And I'm like, they're all with Robert. And I'm like, it's like the X-Men office has been reborn under your shingle. And so, come on, man. It's incredible. Are there names? I know you're not going to give us any. But are there other X-Men names that I may want to be on the lookout for?
It's possible there might be like an expanding roster as time goes on, but we'll just have to see.
Hot damn. Because I'm sitting there going, it's the rebirth of the X-Men our office at Skybound with a brand new kick-ass team that really, I've seen those pages. They're incredible. And look, I'm not trying to, but look, part of this is inside baseball. I was fortunate to get a call from you late summer, early fall. I think you were in town driving through Orange County. You're like, hey, you want to grab dinner? And we went to a taco place. We had our fair share of tacos and burritos. And at the end, I was sitting in your car and you're like, you want to see some Dave Finch? And I'm like, Dave Finch is doing Terminal? Wonk. And I'm sitting there just looking at all these incredible Dave Finch pencils going, wait, I think I thought all I'm going to enjoy right now at this moment is Skin Breakers. But of course, that's over. And you're showing me what he's doing next. And I'm like, drool, drool, drool. So like, I just wasn't expecting, you dropped a bomb on me right there. And I'm like, damn. But then seeing it at Comics Pro, I guess what I'm trying to say is I have high expectations. I have very high expectations for this line of books. So for this title specifically.
Yeah. I do too. We'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But yeah, it's an exciting book that Joe and I have it mapped out for a good long time, and I hope that it could have a run that at least goes for some big anniversary numbers. I'm excited to have another book out there that maybe gets to some Walking Dead and Invincible territory as far as how many issues exist.
I want to ask you because I love Joe Casey, and I want to give him look. I I didn't know what was going down. It was a random call back in the late '90s, and I always liked Bob Harris. Got along with him well. He wanted me to step in and do a bunch of cable issues. I thought they were going to be done with Joe because I was a big fan of Joe. I think Joe and an artist named Ladron did the best.
Did you Jim Lee Joe Casey off of cable?
No, I didn't. Joe called me and said, "Hey, Rob, I know you took this thinking I'm going to do this with you. I'm not. I'm in consolidation with Ladron. They let Ladron go, and I'm going, and I'm like, I didn't know any of this. But I have a different relationship with cable than everybody. So I it was sad because like I said, I think Joe and Ladron, if they collected him, they've collected him a bunch of times. They finally put him in trade paperback right before Deadpool 2. Joe also did some great X-Men, again, X-Men stories with Ron Garney, with Ian Churchill, with he did some great work on the X-Men. Huge fan of Joe's. He's got a great voice, great. How does that process? So I'm excited for Joe. Also, the Ben 10 part of Joe Casey will always be the biggest to my family because my boys were the biggest Ben 10 honks. And I was, again, Joe Casey and who is it? It's Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, Duncan Rouleau. Who am I missing?
Siegel.
And Steve Siegel are your Ben 10 incredible badass
Man of action.
man of action, comic book creator, creating legacy media entertainment. So what is the process with you and Joe on Terminal?
Joe and I mean, we wrote we wrote so many issues so long ago, but yeah, no, we get together and we map out the stories and plot things out like kind of writer's room style, like a television show. And then he goes off and starts like the first draft of the script, and then I'll come in and like tweak some things and then send that to the artist. And then once the art comes in, I'll come in and do the final dialogue pass, and then he of course like comes in and tweaks that and make sure that everything is holding together and things like that, because he has a better handle of like some of the long term like character arcs and things like that, because I am overworked.
Pulled in different directions. You're taffy. You're like taffy.
But it's a lot of fun because it's a lot of back and forth and a lot of trade-offs and things like that. And there will be future issues that he will handle all on his own, and future issues that I will handle all on my own. And most of the time we're collaborating in a really kind of like in sync way. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Would you say you're co-showrunners?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're co-writers. I hate taking television terms and applying it to comics.
Okay, sorry about that. Many people do it. Yeah,
everybody does it. But it's like they used to put comics out that are called director's cuts, and I'm like, there is no credit in the comic called a director. Like, What is this comic? It's just a comic with extra stuff in the back.
Robert, what am I missing? You've got Skin Breakers wrapping up, which is epic, and everybody I know is hoping for like a version that's as big as a door. So we can
happen eventually. Do not worry.
Because that book is spectacular, and so we're gonna do one more segment, and then I'm gonna end up with.
If you're asking for what's on my docket right now, there's the Invincible show, which takes up most of my time, and then I've got the Battle Beast series with Ryan Otley and Skinbreaker, which ran for 8 issues and is wrapping up, and that in my schedule slot is being replaced by Terminal, which will be launching in July, which we've been working on for years and years. And then I also monthly write Void Rivals for the Energon Universe, and I recently took over Transformers for the Energon Universe. So that's my I like to say that's my hanging out in the attic playing with my train set time.
I love it. I've seen your attic. I've seen your trains. They are not regular trains. They are trains that transform into giant robots. Listen to me. Yeah, who is doing Transformers now?
Dan Mora did the first 6 issues, and then Ludo Lullaby is doing issue 31, which should be in stores right now, fresh, in stores. Okay. And then Jason Howard is doing the next arc and is going to be like the key artist moving forward. And Jason's great.
Super Dinosaur, Jason Howard.
I
Super
did Super
freaking Dinosaur.
Dinosaur and Astounding Wolfman with Jason.
Love that
He
guy.
did Trees and Cemetery Beach and I think some other things with Warren Ellis. Recently did a couple issues of Transformers with Daniel Warren Johnson.
Okay.
He did issues 13 and 14. So he's a great Transformers alum. So it's awesome to be able to do stuff with him.
Can I just ask you, how often does Hasbro go, hey, dude, well done. Whoa, whoa. Like how often they're like, dude, so good. Like, what's that affirmation like?
The relationship is really good. They're really thrilled with what we've been able to do, and I have to give credit to Ben Abernathy and Sean Makowitz and Arun Singh and the entire team at Skybound, because it's a massive undertaking to manage a shared universe and a line of books. And now that we have Mask launching and we've got 4 titles going, it's expanding in some really cool ways. But yeah, there's it's great. Hasbro's very thrilled with what we're doing, and it's such a great legacy. It's been around for decades, and Daniel's talked about this, and Josh Williamson's talked about this. Like, to be able to be a small part of what they've done, and to know that there will be future toys that use aspects of what we're doing in these comics is really exciting and cool. And I don't know. I remember, sitting in my bathtub with my G.I. Joe figures when I was like 6 or 7. And, to now be a part of this world is no end of exciting.
So,
That's why I make time to do it, even though I'm incredibly busy.
That's a part of what I didn't get to earlier that I do want to say. And look, guys, I can't believe I said this. I'll say who I said it to. It was Todd McFarlane on the phone last week. It's something that I'm reluctant to say, but I think saying it I said, Todd, it's not our time anymore. It's these new it's these new guys' time. We were having this discussion, and it was just kind of, I was very relieved. And on some level, we have earned our right to sit on our recliners now and watch and get a kick out of everybody else. I still make comics. I love making comics, but like you said, it's laborious, and it can take a lot out of you in so many different ways. Obviously, Todd I manages his Spawn line of books and is very day to day, but none of us are doing the equivalent of the work that you're doing. And Robert, the truth of the matter is, you really don't need to be doing it, which is why anyone who is experiencing any of your comics, no. Steven Spielberg doesn't have to make another movie in his entire life. Okay, he doesn't. He makes it because he loves it. He's going to go.
Steven Spielberg more.
I did. You are comic book Steven Spielberg. The amount of Robert. Let's just put our real. I'm going to be a real people now. I'm going to be a real people. I've said this without you on this show. Nobody has 30 seasons of a show on air. Walking Dead has got to be on season 300. Okay, I've lost track of all of the ads I get going. Oh, they got a show too. Oh, they got a show, because I see it during NFL. AMC buys, they spend big to show me what somebody's doing. That there are Walking Dead people, I think, in London. I mean, I'm just following. I can't possibly watch them anymore. It's too much. But nobody has 30 seasons. Nobody has as many episodes. Like, Robert, you're in rarefied air. It's fantastic. It's awesome. It's inspiring. And when you do comic books, and like you said, the reason you're putting so much of it is because you love it. You love it. You do it because you love it. You don't need whatever success Terminal is going to bring. You just want to bring us Terminal, which is passion. That speaks to passion. And passion is what comic books is about. You can tell when creators are not passionate. I grew up with certain guys who you felt like, is he kind of phoning it in? And is he just kind of grabbing a monthly paycheck? And, so I love the passion. I love that you give us as much as you give us. And I'm going to tell you, I will say, so I'll get my solicitations. I'll normally see my solicitations on my phone, okay? And I noticed that there were some covers on G.I. Joe, and I know the G.I. Joe team is great, and you can give specific shout-outs to everybody. Sure. But there's a guy named Josh Cassar. Did I say his name right?
Yeah.
He's been doing some G.I. Joe covers for you that they come up here like postage stamps, and I go, whoa. And he's doing better covers for you than the work that he did for Marvel, and the work that he did for Marvel was top. What he was doing top work. I was keened in on him. For those of you who don't know, he was doing a Deadpool comic. He was doing a Deadpool Wolverine comic. It had Strife in it. It had my full attention because so many of the characters that I created were populating it. And then I'm like,
Hey, you draw a cool Strife. That's going to get on my radar too, you know?
well, hey, buddy, he is really like, I was like, wait. And so now I'm admiring these G.I. Joe covers, and I feel like Robert, it feels like he's working harder for you, not harder. He's like wants to impress you. It's what it feels like to me. And it's awesome. It's awesome to watch.
You can also be passionate about G.I. Joe and Transformers. No, I mean, we feel very fortunate that Josh is able to do these covers for us, and I'm very excited about what he's going to be doing next. And you know, I'll be buying it like anybody else.
Look, when it comes to G.I. Joe and Hasbro, you sent me. I didn't know they were making a statue from my Dead Game, and I was sitting there reclining in my beanbag, and suddenly and I'm like, what? There's a statue? They made me an action figure. It's right here. But my Snake Eyes work that I did, I got to tell you, I feel it's like a top 3 job of my career because I brought my passion to it. Like I didn't own it. It was a gimme. It was on my, there was a bucket list.
Yeah.
And it kind of took the form of whatever I won't be able to do at DC. I won't be able to do OMAC and Commandy and the New Gods, but I got Snake Eyes. Like, so yeah, of course there's passion. And look at Daniel Warren Johnson. Everybody's like, has been talking about his Batman stuff, but I'm like, dude, this guy's his leveling up began with Transformers.
Yeah.
In my
How
opinion.
do you think I feel? I have to follow that.
Well, you're doing a great job. And Jason Howard's great. So here's the deal. I spoke about something that I felt like maybe people didn't know about, and it was called the Kirkman Manifesto.
Okay.
And you very lovingly said, Rob, I could come on and talk about it. You're like, you could have asked me. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why I didn't do that, because you're very good to the show. You're a very good friend of the show. You've been on I think you're the only person who's been on the show every year. So hey, I appreciate you. And so the Kirkman Manifesto, you told me what you were going to do. You got in a plane. A couple days later, you had put it up. I thought it was available. You said it's not. There's only segments of it. John Centronis from Word Balloon has the audio, which is what I based the entire show around because I want it to be factual. But it was so inspiring, and yet the world changed. And truthfully, because before I got on here with you today, I read all about, because people can't stop writing about J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot moving, kind of shuttering down. Talked about how the industry changed. I met JJ. He was going to write a comedy for me with Jennifer Lopez called Shrink. Then he asked me if I would do a comic book based on Alias. We hired Andy Park. That Andy Park did it. I spent a year with JJ Abrams. Nothing happened. He was making all his own stuff. He was making Alias, making Felicity, making Lost, and then one day JJ Abrams, like, I'm thinking of your video, and in it you're like, I mean, come on, do you really walk out of Raiders of the Lost saying my life's work is I want to do the next one? Apparently, for many people, it was yes. Because J.J. Abrams like, I'll make 2 Star Treks. I'll make 2 Star Wars. I'll make licensed shit up the wazoo. Like suddenly it became the culture.
Well, when you're as talented as J.J. Abrams, you can do that.
And he is talented. Yeah. And I'm sure there was giant incentives. But it suddenly became all about how do I get to this IP, and even like I listen to some great movie podcasts, and even they are like, we just want more fresh stuff from the industry's best, from Zach Krager, from Ryan Coogler. I mean, so that's in the film world. But your manifesto was basically saying, why wouldn't you create your own cool stuff, which you have?
Yeah.
If you want to weigh in on that time, that period, because we've got dedicated episodes to it. If you want to listen to those, they're there. They're not that long ago in the catalog. But what is your take 20 years later?
I mean, I feel like everything I said was proven true. I think that, a lot of what I was saying was that if people came and, did create their own books, if more people did create their own books, they would all sell better and it would be an easier endeavor. And that happened in 2012 and hasn't really stopped. You see the huge resurgence in Image now. I think that there's waves where people get excited about creator-owned stuff, and then there's quiet periods. But even in the quiet periods, there are still hits. It's still a very viable like career decision. Even when it's more quiet. So I don't know. I mean, I stand by everything that I said. I think that it's absolutely absurd for, I mean, there's so many, I said no one watches Pulp Fiction and wants to make Pulp Fiction 2. No one becomes a chef and is like, I want to be the chef of Applebee's. Like they want to start their own restaurant. But for whatever reason, people are like, I'm just going to write Batman for the rest of my life. And it's just like, I don't understand why anybody would do that.
Or Spider-Man. Or Spider-Man.
Spider-Man or whoever. Yeah, yeah. I don't mean to pick on Batman. But I mean, those characters are cool. And I'm also sitting here as the guy who's writing Transformers. So I understand when you have a passion for a thing and you want to do it, but that's not my only focus. And
I want to add, you are writing Transformers because you used your means to grab the license in a very competitive market. Everyone was competing on it, and you're like, no, this will be mine. This will be mine. And so I mean, you went out, you saw it again. It's your bucket list. It's your I since I met you, you were a giant Transformers guy.
I'm not anti like doing corporate characters. I think that there's a time and a place and but like I was talking about with James Tynan, like you have to find that like pivot point in your career. And this is what I talked about. Like if you don't find that pivot point, you have your moment of heat and then your career diminishes. Yeah. And if you're diminishing on corporate comics, what happens is that beloved company that you've worked for half a decade or longer suddenly goes, I can't make money off of you. Please go away.
You know what? Sadly, we could list names back and forth for an hour from my youth through and everyone that you've known of names who that happened to. They cycled out.
Infinitely more talented than I.
Well, and possibly more talented than I.
I mean, let's just be honest, yeah. I mean, and it's just it's sad, and I don't know. I will say that one. Nah, all right.
We don't have to pick up on names. We don't have to. I'm fine with it.
I'm trying not to go negative. I'm trying not to go too negative. But I mean, I am passionate about people solidifying their own futures, and there is no there's no limit to the evidence that we have of people in comics struggling in their later years because their career path was not well managed. And there's a number of examples of people who have managed their career path and who have stable lives, and people who have not and have unstable lives. And so I am, to be completely frank, I'm sometimes not a fun hang at a comic book convention. I know there are people out there that might avoid me because I will grab you by the shoulders at the bar where everyone's hanging out after a con, and I will go, you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing. You should do something else. Here's why. And they will be like, you're an asshole. And I understand. Yeah, I seem like an asshole. There are people that, and it's because if I read your work and I recognize how talented you are, and I feel like your talent is being wasted, I don't have anything to lose to tell you that.
Nothing to lose.
So there are tons of people in this industry that do not like me. And that's fine. But it's because I care, I guess, which is weird. I don't know. I feel like I'm losing everybody. But
no. Let me frame this a little. Let me. So I read an interview. There's a guy. I just want to make sure I get his name right. I watched him for years on 60 Minutes, and he just did an interview. I think it's Steve Croft, and that's it. I got it right. Steve Croft. We watched him for years on 60 Minutes. Joy and I still watch 60 Minutes. It's a great show. I think it's the #1 network show. Still to this day, it was back in the 80s, top 3 show. Get if you're a journalist, you get a lot of eyeballs. He, in an interview recently, he said, I hated my time there. From the time I got hired, I was resented. Other guys, other people wanted their friends to get the job. So I dealt with resentment within the building, within the industry, within the show, the entire career. I was up against, forces that weren't thrilled that I got chosen over their friends, or I wasn't that management's guy. And Robert, look, there's one thing that I've always felt a kinship with you, and it's there have been people who, because of your success and your boldness at a young age, I met some of them. They would tell me why you were successful, and I'd laugh like, "Oh, okay. Oh, it's because of that guy. Okay, go get that guy. Why didn't that happen for you? Because it's not that guy. It's Robert. It's the one consistency through it all. There's a discipline that you bring. There's an imagination, and so like, I think you've. And as you become more successful, ask any of these guys, more stones are going to be thrown at you. But what you figured out is you'll hire all of them and give them great gigs. I mean, like I said, the stable of Skybound talent is sick. It's sick. It's super A-list, impressive. And yeah, you got up-and-comers as well, new guys you're breaking. And I watch all of those guys. I want to mention the guy's name, and I'm sorry that I didn't prepare before. The two guys who have been doing GI Joe, I want to give them shout outs because they're really talented.
And Tom Riley and
Boom.
Andrea Milano, who's also been drawing stuff.
I mean, I always go, man, this stuff looks so cool. These images, like I said, you got a great stable. You have I saw somebody else said that you built an empire. I'm like, that's the create word. You have created an empire. It's going to continue to grow, and I'm thrilled that we got to talk about all this. There's my last couple minute thing. I have a wish list, and you can just completely shoot me down. That's fine. I'm just gonna. I really only have one thing on the wish list.
Uh-oh.
So, well, yeah, this is my fanboy, indulgence. So Marat comes over and we're hanging out. We've been doing some comic book stuff. We grabbed some lunch, and then he's like, "Hey, man, have you seen these remarks that Dave Finch have been doing?" And I said, "No." And he had snapshots of all of them on Invincible comics, on Battle Beast comics. And he had done these sick, and you know how much I love Omni-Man. He'd done these sick Omni-Mans. And I'm looking at these sick. You should see them. They're paintings. He doesn't do regular remarks. He's like painting on people's like comics.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so would if I were to read my wish list to Santa Kirkman, so everything you said about Battle Beast, there's this window, there's this time period that you're exploring that he wasn't there, and the Viltrumite jail and Conk. Okay, so you've got this entire span of this period where Omni-Man, we don't meet him until Invincible 1, and he's clearly been doing stuff. He's been leaving Earth for 20 years and before he gets to Earth, he's got multiple lives. I mean, the dude gets around. What kind of hope does somebody with my wish list that a Dave Finch, God, I want to see a Dave Finch, Robert Kirkman, could we even, if you said, Rob, I can, maybe in 10 years, maybe a special. Is that so out of line? Is that so out of line to ask?
Well, I mean, so number one, I can't speak for David Finch because, like, anytime I get to do a book with him, it's a gift, and
Amen.
Him to bestow that gift upon me. So right now we're having a great time on Terminal, and so who knows what the future holds. He may have something lined up with somebody else for all I know. I have no idea. I definitely hope not. I would love to continue, working with him for as long as he's willing to work with me. But I mean, I would love that as much as you would. Doing anything with him would be spectacular. So
just trying to fit it in, just trying to work. I'm working with the parameters of the lore. And look, so based on your answer, I'm going to look right in here and I'm going to address Dave Finch. Dave Finch, I hope this show finds you. I hope it reaches you. Dave Finch, stop doing those remarks. If you want me to stop wishing every day, I don't need to be looking at those Omni-Man remarks that you're doing. Like, and I'm going to tell you, man, I saw in one of the other interviews, somebody's like, "Hey, Omni-Man's all over the video game world." I told you, season one, I never leaned into Omni-Man during the comic book world. I was such a Mark guy, but something about seeing him move, and whether it's JK's voice,
I was going to say it might have something to do with J.K. Simmons. I mean,
it,
you
well,
know.
he just has. Joy says, "Is he always barefoot?" I said, "No, he hasn't always been barefoot." Like I said, this is her first episode where she believes she saw the end of the Invincible show. Is he dead? It's over, right? So there's no more series. I love it. I love it. I love it when citizens get into what we love and they draw their own conclusions. But yeah, dude, I just something about the show just has given me the biggest Omni-Man supercharge. So I figured, Dave Finch, stop doing those. That it's really haunting my dreams. It's we're we used to always dream of, oh, what if this creator and this creator would do this. So that's on my wish list. And the reason why, Ryan Otley, good God, I have 100 issues of you doing Omni Man. It's spectacular. It's wonderful. It's what I looked at when I
Yeah, come
drew.
on, Ryan. Enough is enough.
No, I mean, he's spectacular. And look, I also want to thank you. We need to wrap up by saying that Invincible and its assorted titles sold millions of copies in, is it March or April?
March with the with all the variant covers, one of which was written
Invincible
by
reprint,
Youngblood.
Invincible reprint, Invincible returns, the
Battle
Marvel
Beast number
team up,
7.
Battle Beast,
Yeah. And Marvel
and
team up
then
14.
you loaned out Invincible to anybody who wanted to participate, and I am a beneficiary. I got that glow up. I got those numbers. I
Can
was
we
like,
just talk about this for a minute? Because this is another thing that is, another example of how great Image Comics is. So when Todd was doing Batman Spawn 2 years ago,
mhm.
he got the idea to loan Spawn out to all the Image books of that month
Mm,
and have variant covers with Spawn on them to have like a Spawn month kind of thing. And then because he did that, I did Walking Dead, and then you did Youngblood, and then I did Invincible, and now Scotty Young is doing I Hate Fairyland, which is all coming out in April. Now, to be clear, the way that works is Todd McFarlane says you can have Spawn for a cover. Enjoy the money. Like we're not like you didn't get paid for Youngblood. I didn't get paid for Walking Dead. I
no,
didn't get paid for
no,
Invincible. Like those, the revenue from those covers goes to the creators of those books. So it's an advertisement for the characters that are being featured. So there's all these books on the shelves with
yeah.
Invincible in the month that Invincible is out, and hopefully people are trying those books, and that's boosting sales, and everything's great. But I just think it's a tremendous like pay it forward thing that Todd set up, where it's a significant gift to these
It is.
creators that are able to cash in on the popularity of this bigger character, and to be able to kind of follow in that tradition was very meaningful for me. And I thought doing it at the time of the Invincible show launching would be like a really cool thing for all these creators.
All of the look, I loved my Negan Chapel Dave Finch Walking Dead cover
Oh,
that I got to see in Youngblood Team Up Month. I was so thrilled and excited, and there was a Capes cover, and so again when it hit me, like, Rob, this is the only time you're going to be able to do Invincible and Omni Man, and stupidly I didn't put them both on the same cover. So I appreciate. I called you up, I asked you, and you allowed me to split the difference. And I'm going to tell you, I had heard Eric Stevenson, God bless him, such a gift to Image Comics. I've known Eric many decades. He's also brilliant. Like we spoke of Jim Valentino, like we talk about you being brilliant. He is. He said, Rob, the Invincible glow up on some of these covers. He gave me some of these numbers, and I'm like, wow, that's incredible. I already signed up, because how this goes, people, is Eric sends out a mass email saying, do you want to participate with Scotty Young's I Hate Fairyland celebration? Weigh in. We need your decision. And just like with Invincible and everything else. So that's how it goes, people. And everybody, whoever wants in, that's your entry point. And so I'd already weighed in. I'm doing Invincible, but then I got my own numbers. I was I was like, holy crap! Like, this Invincible guy, he does have some coattails. Woo! Huge, incredible,
well,
Robert.
it's
It's
all those
incredible.
covers that got us to that million copy number.
Hey,
So yeah,
uh,
it definitely like it was a fun month.
I know that at MegaCon, really it was an Invincible, Absolute Batman love fest. Those are those are the two titles that are giving big
Ooh,
smiles.
absolute
Uh,
Batman. Oh.
I love the competitiveness. Hey, here's the deal. You get to go home with Invincible. Invincible walks in and out of every door with you, gets in the car with you. That's yours. It's a special thing. It's what we're trying to promote. It's kind of the undercurrent whenever image guys get together, because we have experienced firsthand the thrill. And Robert, I'm just going to say I couldn't be more thrilled just talking over everything with you today with whether it's Invincible, Battle Beast, Terminal, the Energon stuff, the Manifesto. I am so thankful. Okay, so are you going to really uh, draw a Youngblood number 100 cover that I can ink? Is that going to happen?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, it can stay. Yes. Okay. Got to make a little news. Got.
I gotta
Okay.
find out when it's due. I will do it. It will be ugly. You will have to fix it in the inks.
No way. No way.
But yeah, no, I plan on doing it. I just, I've had some trips and some things, and
You're a
I
busy
haven't gotten
guy. You're a
around
busy
to
guy.
doing it.
Hey, everybody! I just took this off my bulletin board right next to the pictures of my kids. I got a Robert Kirkman layout for a book we did together called Infinite. Okay,
Can we just,
dude.
can we
th-
just
th-
that like if for the video people, like put that back up.
okay,
That is the lamest. Like you do not need that layout. That is a
I
drawing
did.
you've done 17. That is
I
your.
loved it.
That is like
I
your
have.
signature pose. And I was like, just a little bit like this.
I have a gatefold over on that side above my other computer. So yeah, no, I just okay, good. I can't wait to see it. There's definitely time. I'm in the middle of the book and racing to get it done. But there's trust me, I one of your partners, I said, hey man, you got many weeks, so we're good. But
I know who
I'm
you're talking
excited.
about.
I'm not going to say it here on the air, but plenty of time. It's plenty of time. But Robert, once again, dude, this was so much fun. Thank you for hanging with me and much success. I will dread the end of Invincible, but then we'll just go out and play games and buy more action figures to keep the buzz going. And I cannot wait for Terminal. I'm gonna guess that Terminal is gonna be out in multi packs or multi editions for San Diego Comic Con. It sounds like a San Diego Comic Con love fest.
Oh yeah,
That's
it launches the week of San Diego Comic Con. So if you show up at San Diego, will have gotten your copy that Wednesday, and maybe there'll be another copy available for you at the con. I don't know.
Robert, I kept you too long. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to thank you again for your time, and just thanks again. And I'm so excited. Let's do this again real soon.
No, always happy to be here. I'm here whenever you ask.
Thanks, buddy.